Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 24 career mode, and today we're here for the 6th round of our first MotoGP season for the Catalan Grand Prix at Catalunya. Now if you didn't see the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out before we do get into this one for the French Grand Prix. Obviously the first episode we actually tried to use 120% AI, and it was a much tougher weekend overall because of the AI being so fast, but to be honest we still had a pretty decent result. Didn't manage to get any points in the sprint, but we did manage to get a top 10 in the race, which considering we started right at the back due to wet weather in qualifying, was a pretty good result I thought, and I think with a few more laps, I genuinely think we could have got onto the back of that group in front of us, and I think we could have fought for 4th place, which would have been a fantastic result, but obviously we only had as many laps as the race gave us, so obviously we ran out of time. And as of recording this right now, I have only just looked at the footage and realised that I didn't record live comm. I accidentally used the wrong scene in OBS, so I just recorded the game with no audio. So hopefully the post-comm went well, but I guess we'll have to see. I don't know at this point. But yeah, I've just done a little bit of practice with the 120% AI just before heading into this. Seems like we're probably a bit closer to the pace than we were at Le Mans, so we will have to see how it pans out. But of course the main objective, got to try and beat Aleix, just try and keep that points buffer to him, although I think we should be fine anyway because I think we have so many points over him. In fact we probably already have too many for him to overcome us. It's probably not a massive issue, but even still I'd like to beat him on track rather than it kind of be from the buffer that we've built up from the weird AI, and maybe even try and beat Bastianini and somehow keep our championship title alive. But yeah, I don't think it's really going to happen unfortunately, but I'm a little bit more confident going into this round, so I guess we will have to see. But without any further ado, let's head into the Catalan GP, and I'll see you after free practice. So here we are then in qualifying, and as you can see we've gone straight through to Q2 this weekend, much more on the pace. Well, I say much more, not a lot more. We're just only half a second off the top times now rather than about a second, and that was enough for us to be solidly up there in P5 in practice, which was really, really nice. We're actually P4 when I ended the session, but Martin went to the top after that and extended the lead over everybody. But interestingly, you can see on this screen, no other Aprilias got directly through. Jack Miller and Vinales have come through Q1, so Vinales has got through, but Aleix, the rider that we need to beat, isn't even in Q2. So we've got a big advantage over him starting this weekend. And I tell you what, we're up there with the Ducatis again, so it could be a chance for us to actually try and take the championship lead back if Bastianini doesn't have a good weekend. But I guess we'll have to see. Again, I'm not going to focus on it too much because I think our performance will fluctuate much more throughout the season now rather than being pretty consistent. Because of course using the 120% AI, they're going to probably be better than me at some tracks. You can see tyre wear pretty high, so for the actual qualifying session, I'm going to go soft, but I think we may have to try and use... I do have a hard front, yeah, I was going to say. I think we're going to have to use hard tyres for the races, to be honest, because I think the front has just gone too much otherwise. The rear is actually pretty good. Soft rear will be the one for the races, but yeah, the front tyre, it overheats a lot and it wears out too quickly. Obviously, we know the medium tyre is even worse for that, so if you're trying to avoid overheating, just skip the medium completely. The hard should hopefully be better for it. This outlap will be interesting because, of course, the tyres always take a little bit of time to get up to temperature. We're getting towards the end of our outlap and the brake is still cold, the rear tyre is still cold, so it actually might be a case of having to do sort of 2 almost outlap's just to get the tyres and the brakes in the window. Although the bike is feeling quite good actually now as we go through these last couple of corners, turning really nicely. So it's the least fuel we've had all weekend because in practice we've pretty much filled up. So here we are then, about to start our first lap here in qualifying. Bagnaia has already gone down. Where's he gone down? Sector 4. So we're ahead of the yellow flag, fortunately. He's got that turn 10 by the looks of it. A lot were going down in practice there as well, so it seems like a corner that the AI are likely to crash. They're probably on a hard front as well or something as well. Marc Marquez goes down. Also looks like turn 10, so don't want to follow an AI through there in qualifying, so a lap will be cancelled. But in the race, certainly might be a corner where we gain some positions. Martin's has gone down as well, so yeah, it does feel like maybe this track might be a bit bugged, unfortunately. And Bastianini. It's every AI crashing when no, they're not even at turn 10, so I don't know where they are. So here we are through the last corner, then another crash behind. Pedro Acosta down in sector 3, but over the line then, 1:38.8. Not an amazing lap time. Definitely some more time in there. We went quicker in practice, so we'll have to see, but it is our first flyer, so we'll take a couple of laps to get up to speed, I think. But Quartararo, who's actually, to be fair, managed to get through to Q2 again. So Quartararo's having a really, really good last couple of races. He's been phenomenal. He was really good at Le Mans. Again, looks like he's having another good weekend here. Yeah, because we're suddenly ahead of Vinales, so it's not just a case of us being really slow. Quartararo, sorry, is just really quick. Wow, Martin's is at a 37.6, is 1.1 quicker than me now. We are miles off. I'm just going to have enough fuel to do a lap here, I think. 1.0 laps, so we're literally probably going to just cross the line. And that's probably going to be the end of our session then. So we've got to improve on this lap. Right, so this lap's not ended up being very good anyway, so I'm just going to return to the pits so that we actually get a chance to do some more laps at the end of the session. We have to go out on a new set of tyres. But I just don't know where the pace is. The pace was much better in practice. Okay, so I've just come out the pits. We've got Bastianini and Augusto Fernandez right behind us. Actually, Augusto Fernandez in this session, I didn't even make note of that. So it does seem like the Gas guys have also made a step since the test, because he was performing pretty well last weekend. Bastianini down in 11th place on the grid currently. Well, that'd be fantastic for us. I'll tell you what, since we're behind him, let's try and get a tow. If he does improve, he'll pull us up, and if he doesn't, then he's going to be starting pretty far down. I mean, I know he's only 2 spots behind me, but even still, we got good 7/10 on him. So we're just going to pass him here. Pass him with relative ease as well. He's trying to go around the outside. It's pretty cost him some time on his lap, but to be honest, he was already holding me up. The bike's hooking up already more. Just realised I'm in power mode 1, so that actually could be why it's hooking up so much better. He's coming back up the inside of us to return 5 contact, and again more contact. Go on, Anea, what are you doing, man? Anea's costed us both time. He dive bombs us again, so we've got into a bit of a battle here in qualifying all of a sudden. I'm probably just going to be better to let him go, to be honest with you. Might actually just sit up, drop back, let him sort of just get a bit of more of a gap on me, because I'll just get stuck behind him again. Otherwise, I'll probably pass him in Sector 1 and he'll pass me back in Sector 2 or whatever. So it's not worth it, just ruining both our laps. You can see he's now down to the bottom of the session. I'd imagine his lap's going to be pretty decent as well. Oh no, he's going to the pits. So he battled us all that just coming to the pits. So no, Bastianini at the moment is actually sitting in last position in this session, which is exactly what we needed. It's been very convenient so far this episode, hasn't it? Aleix hasn't even got through to Q2, and Bastianini is qualifying last in it. Very strange, very weird. I promise I haven't done anything. It's all legit, but maybe this new patch has affected their AIs, made them slower. It's potentially possible. I always thought that any changes to the AI performance didn't affect an ongoing career mode, but I could be wrong. But yeah, again, not an improvement. I don't know what it is. Our first lap was our best lap, but it's off what we did in practice, so I don't know why we can't beat it. Well, we've saved our best for last. Through the last corner up towards the line, it's going to be a massive improvement at the end of the session. And no, I don't want to restart the session here. I went for another gear shift just as the screen changed. So there you go then. At the end of qualifying, Martin on pole once again. So he's really getting his season started. Since the last couple of episodes, he's really cracking on. So we'll have to watch out for him in the championship. Bagnaia in second position then. He's got to make amends for that crash he had in Le Mans. Viñales top Aprilia in third. Marc Marquez in fourth. And Pedro Acosta in fifth position. So it actually does make me wonder whether Pedro's been improved a little bit by this patch. And Marc Marquez as well, because both of them have been struggling quite a lot so far. Well, not struggling, because Acosta was actually up there, to be fair, in Austin. But Marc Marquez has been consistently beaten by Alex, so yeah, it seems like maybe that has been adjusted a little bit now. Bastianini down in 12th place, 10 seconds off. I'll tell you what that was. He crashed obviously on that first lap, if you remember at the start of the session. And then I guess he just kept going back to the pits, because he went back to the pits when we were around him, and he just obviously never put another lap in. So we have been very lucky there, because I would imagine Bastianini would be ahead of us, because we're only down in 8th place. But yeah, that puts us in a really good position for both the sprint and the race. Actually make some points up on Anea. So without any further ado, let's get into the sprint and let's see, can we try and gain some positions? Can we get back into the top 5? That'd be pretty good after the last episode, but you know what, the race pace is definitely going to be better, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what we can do against his AI. Okay, so even bigger news, Enea Bastianini's been given an impeding long lap penalty. I can only imagine that was for battling with us on the laps in qualifying. That is so strange. Now, once again, just like in the last episode, Luca Marini obviously took his long lap penalty in the sprint race. It seems to be the same here. So again, that's not actually how it works, but oh well, that's still going to help us out quite a bit, because that probably means Bastianini's not going to be a factor at all in this race. It will be in the main race probably, which, yeah, probably be better actually if he took his penalty there. But he's starting 12th, he's got a long lap. He isn't going to probably score anything in this sprint race. So if we could try and get some points here, we can actually make some inroads back on him. And I don't know if it's really possible for us to take the championship lead, but we can certainly give it a go. Obviously for the tyres, I did say I was going to use the hard tyre for the races. I guess again, I'll use the sprint as a little bit of a test bed. Brakes, yeah, I'll keep them on the high mass, because I'd rather it be a little bit cool than overheating, because I'll probably end up running into the back of the AI otherwise. But yeah, this race has changed once again now with Bastianini getting the long lap penalty. Massive for our championship, so to be honest, I'm going to be even more eager to try and get out the order here, because I think on the opening lap, if we get his elbows out a little bit, we can certainly make some positions up here from 8th on the grid.
Jorge Martin heads from pole position. All of the other riders on the grid breathing down his neck. In a few seconds, the lights will go out and the race will begin.
So Martin on pole, then Bagnaia second. Viñales back to form in 3rd place, but the lights are on then. Waiting for them to go here for the Catalan sprint. Holding for quite a while as per usual. Lights out and away we go. Another terrible launch from myself off the grid. Been jumped by Bastianini. Not Bastianini. Well, we have been jumped by Bastianini. We got jumped by Aleix. Augusto Fernandez Quartararo on the run down towards turn 1. We also got passed by Alex Marquez on the outside there. And a VR46. Both VR46 Ducatis, in fact, as we go through turn 1. Unfortunately, we've gone down to 17th off the start. Okay, not what I expected at all. I was thinking I was going to make up positions off the start, but we've had an absolutely horrendous start. We're still losing positions. We're down at 18th place, 19th. What is going on here? The AI have got some massive advantage on me on this opening couple of corners. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Portimao sprint race, where we got sort of beat up massively. We fought our way back up to 17th. Alex Rins looks to be stuck on the outside of our teammate there. So we go down towards turn 5, come and make a place or two. On the inside of Rins. Oh, just going to run out of room. We're at the inside of Aleix. They were just about going to force him out the way. So Aleix initially got past us, but it's gone backwards as well in this race. On the inside of Raul Fernandez. Can we overtake him? Yes, we can. Or he's going to hang it around the outside. Aleix is here. Aleix has knocked us off. Come on, Aleix. What are you doing, mate? We are on the same team here. And that has completely changed the way our weekend's going to play out now. Because all of a sudden, we've got to be on the attack. Well, I mean, obviously we're on the attack anyway, but all of a sudden we're not actually got the advantage of Bastianini anymore. What has changed within about a minute? And we're at the back of the grid once again. Aleix, yeah, along that penalty, not surprised, very deservedly so. At least on this occasion, we're going to have to properly come back to the field. It's not going to be a sort of a namby-pamby AI going really slow, but obviously we're not going to score any points now. There's no way in 6 laps, and let's be honest, 5 laps now as we're going through the penultimate turn, are we going to make up the... Probably going to struggle to even catch Nakagami, let alone get up into the points. So, wow, that was... I don't understand why we got such a bad start as well, by the way. I know my initial launch wasn't good, but we kept getting swamped everywhere. Definitely have to get my elbows out more in the main race. Again, I'd prefer it happening in the sprint, of course, but yeah, that's... not the best way to start our sort of races for the weekend. And Bastianini's taking his long penalty, and he's going to come out the pits, come out the penalty ahead of us. So unlike in real life, Bastianini actually does take his penalty at Catalunya, and we're still nearly 3 seconds behind him. So yeah, we are miles off the back right now. Hard tyres also overheating quite a bit compared to the how the soft was running. I'll have to see if the wear is any good, because the soft was also wearing quite drastically, which is why I wanted to stay away from it. But obviously, if it doesn't really work in this race, then I will go to the soft front in the main race. It's kind of the good part about having a sprint is that I can use it as a slight test bed for tyres and stuff. See how they get on at half race distance. 39.4. Nearly 2 seconds slower than Martin on that lap. Oh, Aleix has taken his long lap as well, so that's going to be interesting. That'll bring us pretty close together on track as he rejoins in front of me. Well, there's going to be no punches held back here. I mean, I know I've been pretty aggressive with him all season, to be quite honest, and a couple of times over the line, but he's taken it to a new level now. This could be the start of us falling out here at Aprilia. So we've all been pretty friendly so far. We're getting on with them pretty well. They're complimenting me when I've done well and stuff like that. But ultimately, we're now fighting to be the lead of this manufacturer, and that's the way he decides to do it. So yeah, that's interesting. And Marini there has just got absolutely beaten up by everybody. He's been pushed back about 4 spaces in the space of a corner and a half. We are on the back of the Honda Cup here now, though. So we should hopefully be able to pick up a few positions. So we won't finish dead last. To be honest, actually, my goal has got to surely be trying to get in the top 15 so that we don't lose reputation points. But it's going to be pretty damn difficult, I would say. And the hard tyre, absolutely not working. The brakes, not really working. So I think we're going to make a change for the main race, that's for sure. Not even into the 38s yet in the race. I've heard a crash sound. Not sure who's gone down. Sector 1 though. We'll see as we get there, I guess. Brad Binder's gone down. I don't think it was him that crashed initially. It was Acosta. So literally within the space of 10 seconds, 2 KTMs go down. So much like in the main race in Le Mans, again, there's been 2 KTMs going down in pretty quick succession. With again, it was Acosta and Binder, wasn't it, last time? Although they're actually still in front of us, which is pretty depressing there that Binder's still ahead. Right, where are we going to try and stuff it underneath Luca Marini then? Actually, to be honest, I might go around the outside of him into turn 5. Yes, 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 yes. No, yes, no, yes, yes, no, I'm not sure. Nakagami goes off the track, bit of contact with Luca Marini there. Nakagami shot this warning, yeah, not surprised, going all over the green. We've gone a bit too hot into TV3 though. Is that going to allow Marini back through? Not quite. So he had a look at it, but I think we've got it now. So I think we're up into P20, which I didn't think I'd be saying in this episode, considering how much better the pace has been. Nakagami's definitely struggling now. Should hopefully get him down towards turn 10 maybe. Obviously don't want to go around the outside of him, but he might make a mistake with that. Actually, no, to be fair, that was pretty decent from Nakagami. Right, so here we are then in the slipstream of Takaki Nakagami. Can we try and pass it out towards turn 1? To be honest, we're not getting that much in the slipstream, but we're going to have to try and go for it anyway. On the brakes, have we got the pass done? I think we just about have. No, we've gone wide. Is he going to come back at us? No, not quite. So, up into P90 then. Next is Aleix. Aleix still struggling to get past Mir. Mir makes a big mistake there on the curb. So, yet again, there's now another bite between myself and Aleix. Aleix getting pretty lucky with these, or at least he's working his way through in a good manner. Again, looks like the pace maybe is finally coming to me here towards the end of the sprint. See him underneath. It takes me a few laps to get into these sprints. I think that's why I obviously do better in the Grand Prix. Actually, that's a good point. I can't recall a single race where we performed better in the sprint than in the Grand Prix, so that's definitely worth noting. Traveller's warning for me. There's another yellow flag up ahead. Again, not sure who's actually gone down. It's not any of the top three. Jack Miller in third place, actually having a really good race there. 38.8 on that lap. Last lap of the sprint. Can we try and get past Jean Mir here? Another yellow flag. Sector 2 this time. Someone down at turn 3, I think. That's an interesting place. Looks to be the other gas of Augusto Fernandez. So, loads of KTMs going down in this one. Not sure what that's all about. And all of a sudden, AI are behaving very strangely through turn 4. We're just completely leaving Mir out the way. I didn't even mean to do that. I was too busy focusing on what Zarco and Aleix are doing in front, actually. And all of a sudden, as they've got caught behind a rider that's crashed, we are closing all over the back of them. You can see it's 2 KTMs at the front of this train. With obviously Brad Binder and Augusto Fernandez. Can we try and make a pass at the inside of Zarco here? Yes, we can. He's going to tip in on me like I'm not there. But I'm going to sort of rub him back. Oh, I've put him onto the green a little bit there. We've passed Zarco though, up into P17. Next up then is Aleix, but just think we're going to run out of time to get him, unfortunately. So towards the line then, it's going to be P17 in the sprint. Our worst result of the season, but no fault of our own there, really. So then there you go. Jorge Martin dominated the sprint then, 6 seconds clear of Pecco Bagnaia in second place. Jack Miller ended up in third, Vinales fourth, and Morbidelli rounds out the top 5. Forget what I was saying about Marquez, or Marc Marquez's AI, down in 12th of the race. For some reason, he seems to qualify quite well sometimes, but just drop down in the races. Not sure what that is. I don't know whether that's something that Maya sort of assigned him, or just something specific to my career mode, so let me know, guys, what's happening to you as well. But Marc Marquez really underperforming in my career mode so far. I mean, same with Bagnaia, really, and Martin. To be honest, the two protagonists are myself and Bastianini, but I can see that changing pretty drastically. You can see, of course, he wasn't able to score any points this time either, so no damage, no change at the top of the championship, which is a shame, because I think there was potential for that to happen today, but there you go. Aleix, well, we got a terrible start, to be fair, for a start. We were already on the back foot, but Aleix made sure that definitely didn't happen by obviously completely knocking us off and getting along that penalty himself. So without any further ado then, time to get into the main race. Hopefully we can have a good start, because our lap times are pretty comparable to some of those AI there in those top positions. We're quicker than Digi Antonio, for example, so that's a top 9 finish. We're quicker than Fabio Quartararo, so it's not all about fastest lap, of course. I mean, obviously Martin seems like a league of his own, but whether we could still try and get on the podium or get a top 5, you never know. And I think that is a possibility from where we're starting 8th place on the grid. We can make up those kind of positions. So here we are then, down on the grid for the main race here at Catalunya. And unfortunately, of course, looking at the team objectives on the right-hand side, we did fail one of them in the sprint, and we are going to succeed the other one completely, so that's absolutely fine. We are going to finish in front of Aleix, which is fantastic. But this time, obviously, we want to try and get a better result, try and get in that top 15. Obviously, I think we would have been, well, we definitely would have been in the top 15 if we didn't get knocked off, because we almost were. We were only 2 places off it, even with the crash. So, literally a couple of episodes after saying I thought it was impossible. Obviously, it happened, but of course, these are the things that you get. I'm not sure whether to go for the hard front or the soft front, to be honest, because the hard front didn't feel great in the race, but yeah, track temperature was really high. I feel like it worked well enough. The pace was good enough. I think it'll work. I think what I'm going to do, though, is go on to the extreme cooling brake instead of the regular brake, because the brake was just too cold. So the high mass one just wasn't working for me, I don't think, in these conditions. You know what? Let's risk it. Let's risk it, because there's nothing really to lose anyway. We had a terrible start with the hard tyre on before. Maybe try and use the soft tyre, take advantage of it in the early laps. We'll see. The soft tyre has been serving us pretty well this season, so you know I'm willing to take a risk. If it goes badly, it goes badly, but The weekend, obviously, already we've got 0 points so far, so we could only end up with another 0 worst case scenario. So without any further ado, let's get the Grand Prix started. Hopefully, it's a better result than a sprint.
Jorge Martin heads from pole position. All of the other riders on the grid breathing down his neck. In a few seconds, the lights will go out and the race will begin.
So can Martin make it another win here from pole position? He's really started to find his stride in this season now. But here we are, the lights are on, waiting to go out for the Catalan Grand Prix. Lights out, and away we go. Another pretty terrible start from myself, as per usual, being swamped. So we go down towards turn 1, trying to get to the inside of the track, getting the touch of Vinea Bastianini. We're going to have to be very aggressive. Down towards turn 1, up the inside we go. Oh, we're going to have contact with Villa there, and I think Morbidelli a little bit through turn 1, but we've made it through. Got through turn 1. Back up into 10th position. That's going to be a track limits warning there. That's for sure. Yes, it is. Oh, there's a crash. Who's down? I think it was Vinales. Aleix right in front of us there. Well, no love lost between the two of us after that sprint race. Apparently, Marc Marquez had him off. Don't know why it's Binder braking on a straight. Not too sure. But the inside of, well, we got past Binder there. Trying to get the inside of Fabio Quartararo. He's going to try and hang it around the outside of us. No, he's not going to do it. So we've actually got the position up into P6 then. Jack Miller up ahead of us, obviously got a podium in the sprint. Marc Marquez having a much better sprint, much better Grand Prix, should I say, than sprint, along with us, of course. We've actually moved forward slightly from our starting position up into 6th place. So far, soft tyre gamble seems to have worked. But again, the start was terrible, and I think the fact that it was such a long run down to turn 1 is what was harming us. But we were able to actually fight back in the opening corners this time. Unlike in the sprint, we just kept continually getting beaten up. So apologies, I definitely got my elbows out a little bit there. And obviously, there's a little bit of chaos with the crash ahead for Vinales. We're looking at the inside now of Jack Miller into turn 10. A risky move. Probably needlessly risky. But we're up into P5. We made it stick. We sort of hung Miller out to dry there. Left him no choice. And we're up into the top 5. Then next up, Pedro Acosta. That's Marc Marquez. That's Bagnaia. That's Martin. But my fight is definitely not with Martin today. He's looked way too fast all weekend. So my fight's probably not with any of these guys in front, because Acosta is even dropping me a little bit. But if we could try and just get away from Jack Miller, just stop him attacking us, we can run a couple of clean laps. Well, that's not really worked, has it? Because he's blasted past us on the straight. It's down towards turn 1, trying to go around the outside. Well, I wasn't even trying to go around the outside, just trying to keep myself on the brakes. That was so close to a crash. I don't even know if there was contact there at turn 1, but fair play. Miller retakes the position, so back down to P6 for us. But I feel like just got to slow down, let the race come to us. Again, don't think we're going to be battling those 3 Ducatis that are perhaps pulling away in the distance. Finally, Marc Marquez seems to be having a decent race, but our fight is with Bastianini, and again, it seems like he's not in the top point square positions at the moment, so that is fantastic news. So again, we got to pull an aggressive pass on Jack Miller down towards turn 7. I thought about it. That was more than I think about it. And a crash! Marc Marquez goes down. So it's just I'll say Marc Marquez is finally having a good race. He goes down. Miller had to roll out the throttle because that a little bit. We had to look into turn 9 again on Jack Miller. But Marc Marquez, he's out the race. Bless him, having a good weekend for once. And it all goes down the toilet. Again, on the inside of Jack Miller into turn 10. He just tipped it on me. Well, we've punted Miller wide, but that's fully on him. In fact, he's down now as well, so that's going to be a long lap penalty for me, isn't it? The game's going to give me a long lap for that, probably. But, I'm fully alongside. He just tips in like you're not there, and then there's contact. AI truly back to their old tricks, as we've seen. I mean, again, I don't know if it is because we've now taken the neural AI off, or not the neural AI, sorry, the adaptive AI. The adaptive AI did seem more intelligent. And apologies for having so much contact so far in the race, but that one I'm not taking any responsibility for. I was making a legitimate pass, we were level on the brakes, just tips in like I'm not there, and he goes down. It's completely his own fault. Silly thing to do for Jack Miller there. And he's having such a good weekend. Why throw it away? I know he wanted to obviously probably get in front of me and try and hunt down Pedro, but just wasn't going to happen. So, anyway, enough about Jack Miller. We are underneath our current time, obviously, at the moment. We've only got 39 there, obviously with the contact and all that. I do feel like we've got some decent pace here. We could maybe try and get past Acosta. But again, shout out to Quartararo. He finished 4th in the last race. He's running in P5 in this one. That Yamaha has definitely made some developments in this season, because all of a sudden he's gone from basically nowhere. I mean, he wasn't doing too bad in Jerez either, really, but ever since then, he's really stepped it up another level. And he's been fantastic up there with the leaders. Tell you what though, speaking of the leaders, looks like Bagnaia is actually going with Martin this time. Obviously, Martin pulled away from Bagnaia in the last one, but it seems like they're actually going together now. They're pulling away. 37.7 on the lap then, so not too bad, but about a second slower than Pecco Bagnaia in second place, or actually briefly in the lead there, so they are actually scrapping away now. So we've closed right into the back of Pedro Acosta now. What are we going to do? I'm going to try and make it a bit safer of a pass than as we did on Jack Miller. But I feel like turn 10's a good option. We did pull it down on Miller one lap. It seems like maybe the Cater's a bit weak in there, but the AI just, they sort of try and roll around the outside of you, but it's turning on you, and obviously that ended up resulting in him going off. So, and I think we're a bit too far back on this occasion to pull it off. So maybe I'll just sit pretty and maybe try him down towards turn 1, because we pulled that off in the sprint a couple of times, so we know it's doable. But it does look like Acosta is starting to struggle now. He's running wide in quite a few places. Right, so here we are then, in the slipstream of Pedro Acosta. Are we going to have enough down towards turn 1? I'm going to say no on this occasion, because we're not really gaining. It seems like the AI actually have a bit of a straight line speed advantage on me now, ever since we've turned the AI up. Maybe it's ever since the test, but we've gone massively wide to turn 1, unfortunately. Got sucked in there by Pedro. We definitely could have overtaken him if it wasn't for that, to be honest with you. But we are just looking a lot faster than Pedro, so the sooner we overtake him, the better, I think, because I don't think we're able to go with the leaders, but I'd rather be past Pedro and not have to worry about Fabio behind. I know we've got a bit of a gap on Fabio, but the more mistakes Pedro makes, the more it's going to allow Fabio to close back in, and you can see already, it is happening. He got to 3/10 there briefly. So there we are then. Are we going to go for the pass into turn 10? I am indeed going to let the brake off. Up the inside we go. Fully clean move. We've ran really wide. In fact, we've got off the track, and Acosta's gone down. Okay, well that time, he just ran wide himself. So it seems like if you pass the AI to turn 10, they will crash. So, yeah, bit strange. I really hope there wasn't contact there, because I feel like then I've just knocked the two people I've actually overtaken properly off in this race. But I'm fairly certain I played no part in that one. Pedro just tried to hang it around the outside. Well, I mean, obviously I played a part because I put him offline, but, you know, I didn't actually touch him. Right, so we're on to lap 6 now. We've got a big 5-second gap ahead of us. We're not going to gain that back, but can we try and pull away from Fabio now that we've got a bit of clean air? I think, yes, we can. So it might be a bit of a lonely race from here, to be honest. Oh, Martin's down! Martin has gone down! So he goes to return 5. I've run massively wide because I got put off by that. Martin's actually got back on in front of us. That's how far ahead he was. That is ridiculous. Okay, well, fair play to Martin then. I was about to say it's going to put Fabio up onto the podium, but Jorge Martin has managed to keep that position. But I would suggest he's going to be a bit slower now. He's had a crash. He looks like he's sat up, so maybe he's got some sort of issue. So maybe second place on the cards here, because I imagine he'll probably take a couple of laps to get back up to speed. So until that point, we might be a bit quicker than him. And yeah, he definitely looks like he's kind of coasting. So whatever happened to him there, it's definitely put him off, which obviously it would. But I mean, again, that just shows how good their pace has been, that those two were that far in front that he managed to crash and get back on ahead of me. And it's not like I was nowhere, I was in P3. So yes, when it happened at the sprint, I was obviously nowhere, but on this occasion, I was right up the sharp end. But no, it doesn't look like we're quicker than him. He was a bit slow in those first couple of sectors, but it looks like he's now got the jump on me out the last corner. Having said that, though, we just had a very good first couple of corners. We're now over a second in front of Fabio for the first time. Again, we're just over halfway through the race, so based on what would be the last lap of the sprint, I think, now. So we are pretty much finally, like, again, the pattern's continuing. We are picking up pace, but you can see our tyre. We're in big tyre trouble on the right-hand side. This soft could very well have been a mistake here, because we have not got half left there, so we are going to be out of tyre by the end of the race. And Bagnaya's now crashed! Pecco Bagnaya's crashed. Where's he crashed? Turn 7. Weird place to crash. And he's actually back on even further in front, but again, if they're a bit slow in this sector, all of a sudden, we are now with the two leaders who'd pulled so far ahead because they crashed. Somehow, we've brought ourselves into race-winning contention, which is ridiculous. We don't have the pace to be here, but the AI's mistakes have allowed us to be here. And you can see, obviously, within the lap, we've actually still closed on Martin. So, it seems like once they've crashed and got back on, we perhaps do have the pace over them. Maybe they're hitting tyre troubles as well. Don't know what tyres they have on, but yeah, we are going to have to probably back off at some point and look after the tyre. Another crash behind, Zarco. So that shouldn't make much of a difference to the race. Pit to retirements warning, so need to be careful. Again, look at how hot that right-hand side of the tyre got. We need to look after it, but the fact that I'm being dragged now into a fight for the win is probably going to be a bit of an issue for me. Tell you who might end up winning this race after all this, Fabio Quartararo, because he's only a second behind me. If I have to drop back because of the tyres, he'll probably beat me. And these guys in front, well, they've already shown that they're capable of a mistake. They're clearly not pushing that same pace anymore, but it could potentially still be another crash for these two. They could collide. I tell you what, I am feeling pretty good right now, because we're still sort of sticking with them, which I didn't expect once they got back on. I thought he was just going to disappear. Okay, we are literally all over the back of Martin now. But that was a mistake out of there. Put the ride out device on a touch too early. Easily done. I might just start risking it more into the left-handers now and try and save the right a little. Although we have got 3 laps to go and we're just about hanging on. So maybe on the last lap I'll be out of tyre on the right-hand side, but I can probably manage. I seem to remember in the previous game it's not that bad when you run out completely. There's still obviously some semblance of grip. It's still a tyre at the end of the day. I feel like I've got enough pace to stick with Martin here, but I've just not got the pace to pass him. You can see another 38.7, so that seems to be the pace we've settled into now, which is a second slower than what they were running earlier on in the race, by the way. So those crashes definitely a mechanic in the game then that's made them slow down, because I'm sure in previous games, once they got back on, they'd have just carried on, unless they picked up some sort of damage, but both their paces have dropped by a second lap, and oh, Fabio Quartararo goes down just after Aleix to overtake. Oh, Aleix is coming. I didn't even know Aleix was on his way. So probably Aleix then, having some sort of, maybe some sort of contact there with Fabio Quartararo. We'll have to have a look at that maybe. Well, apparently Quartararo's just knocked off Acosta as he's come back on. And Pedro's now out the race. So it's really unfortunate for Pedro. He's been taken out by 2 riders effectively there. I mean, I know I didn't take him out, but obviously he crashed as a result of my overtake. And Fabio got a long lap for it, so he's clearly seen it's at fault. And then we've got the run here of Jorge Martin into turn 9. Oh, we touched the curb. We've touched Martin as well. Not how I want to do it. But there we go. We're up into P2 then. We've passed Jorge. Next up then is Pecco Bagnaia. Can we do anything about it? I don't think so, because he's got a gap on me, so I'm going to have to catch him up. I've got to just try and put someone between myself and Aleix, to be honest, because Aleix, I didn't even know he was coming, and he's obviously caught me up a bit as well. Fabio Di Gianantonio's crashing now. I wonder if the AI are now going to hit tyre troubles as well and start to crash. Because we obviously saw how many were going down in turn 10 in sort of qualifying and practice. It will remain to be seen if in these next couple of laps the AI starts to go down, and oh, really not carried the corner speed there. Martin tries to pass us. Bagnaia's out nearly 2 seconds up the road, so we're definitely not going to beat Pecco Bagnaia in this one, but we might be able to hold on to the second position ahead of Martin, which would be a fantastic ride, to be honest. Absolutely fantastic. Because we should not be beating. I mean, I'm pretty sure I said the words on the first lap. My race today is not with Martin, which it shouldn't be. He should be probably 8 seconds up the road from me, but he crashed. He made a mistake, and we were there just keeping our head cool, calm, and collected. I'm not too worried about the tyre now because we're on the penultimate lap, and there's enough left where it will last us the rest of the race now, so we haven't got to worry about that one too much. Right then, so final lap of the race. Bagnaia 2 seconds up the road. We're not going to catch him unless he does something that he did in the sprint in real life. We're not going to beat him today. And what a way to bounce back from that crash in Le Mans. Another 25 points, but it's great for me because we're ahead of Bastianini by a fair few positions, so we're actually going to gain a few points back on him this weekend, which, yeah, actually, to be honest, going into the weekend I thought was a possibility. But even still, pretty good considering we're now against 120% AI. Raul Fernandez crashes. He was running in a good position there in the top 10. So that's a shame for the team. Zeki goes down as well. So, yeah, there's a few riders going down on this last lap. So, it seems like the AI maybe are struggling. We'll have to watch into turn 10 here. Watch Pecco Bagnaia. I mean, we've caught him. He's definitely lost time on this lap. And we've put a decent bit of time into Martin as well. So, we should be pretty solid in this position. Let's see, does Bagnaia make a mistake? No, he doesn't. He holds on to it this time. So, Bagnaia is going to win the race now. I've not seen them crash from this point onwards. So, he should be solidly safe. Mir gets along that penalty. So, it seems like maybe there's some collisions going a little bit further back in the pack. Which is not a surprise because we were in the jungle, weren't we, in the sprint race and a little bit in the Le Mans sprint race as well, and it's certainly aggressive back there, that is for sure. But through the final turn then, we are going to come home in second position, which is fantastic against 120% AI here. I'm happy with that, The pace was good, pace was pretty good the whole race. Wasn't quite what the top AI had, but it was fine because they pushed themselves into their own mistakes and then dropped back to my pace. You can see actually on the last lap we had caught Bagnaia, so I think if the race had kept going we would have won because I think we just had a bit more than them. We had a bit more than the tyres. I did say this, that the tyres could go off. Clearly the drop wasn't quite as bad as we've seen in previous games, but yeah, the tyres are a big thing here. So glad that I actually went for the soft tyre in this race. It was definitely the right decision. Wish I'd done it for the sprint, to be completely honest, because I think our race would have been very, very different if we hadn't have had that. But equally, I think the fact that we got the position we did was partly a reaction to the bad performance in the sprint. I obviously pushed a bit harder, and to be honest, I was a little bit over the line in a couple of places. I'd like to go and have a look at the 2 passes for the KTM riders because, well, Miller, with those definitely contacts, I don't think there was with the Costa. I think he just sort of ran himself off the track, which is kind of what Martin did at Jerez as well at the last corner, so it seems like the AI do that a little bit. Bastianini, though, actually managed to get 5th place, so we actually haven't gained too many points on him. Speaking of the points then, on Bastianini, we're now 7 points back of him in 2nd place of the championship. Martin 37 behind, which is pretty incredible, because there was about 63 points back to him at some point. So he's done a really, really good job in the last couple of rounds to recover that. Bagnaia sat in 4th place then, Aleix in 5th, Maverick in 6th. Marc Marquez actually in front of Alex there in the championship somehow. In 7th place, Alex, of course, in 8th. 9th for Morbidelli, and Acosta moves down to 10th after a crash out of that one. As for the Teams Championship then, the Catalunya continues to lead 71 points now ahead of Trackhouse in 2nd place. Prima Pramac actually move ahead now of the factory Aprilia team, which is a shame, but there you go. At least there's still one Aprilia team up there. As for the Constructors' Championship, the lead increases. Obviously, a perfect weekend once again for Ducati. 34 points clear of us now in 2nd place. KTM sat there in 3rd place. 4th for Yamaha still, and 5th for Honda. 13 points. They really are having a rough season. But there you go then. That was the Catalan Grand Prix. So we'll head back to the career hub, see what we get reputation-wise. We are going to lose some for the sprint race, of course, but you get more for the main race. So we're still going to gain overall. See what's said on the social media. And if Aleix says anything to us, we're going to be pretty feisty in response, because I've not forgotten what he did to me in the sprint. It was unacceptable. You do not do that to anyone, let alone a fellow Aprilia rider. So there's definitely going to be some words there with Aleix. So we've still gained a pretty decent amount of reputation now. Obviously, we've got the 44,000 for finishing in the top 15 in the main race. Lost a few for the sprint, but of course, us finishing outside there in the sprint wasn't really our fault. And of course, we achieved a turning point, but it was impossible for us to not do that going into this weekend. We had such a buffer. To be honest, I don't even know if it was ever possible for Aleix. I guess, in theory, yes. Because what, there's 37 points up for grabs a weekend, so he could have gained about 74. But I think we were like 60-something in front, so it was going to be always very unlikely for us to actually pull it back. So yeah, that was pretty much a given. I imagine though we're probably going to get told to beat him in a race now, which will be interesting because that's less of a given. Obviously we did it today and we probably would have done it in the sprint too, but yeah, it's still, especially Mugello is the next track. I may have to turn the AI down there, I'm not going to lie, but we'll see. It's not a track that I particularly like. So Biker's performance is convincing Aprilia. Finishing the race in front of Aleix Espargaro might result in additional support from the manufacturer. So yes, that is exactly what we've got to do. We've actually got a message on the social media feed as well. Who's it from? Martin. So Biker demonstrated his worth also in Catalunya. I've already talked with the team and we're aiming at making up for it in Mugello. Yep, so it'll be nice to Martin because we had a good little scrap with them, to be fair. The team and I are pleased. The bike was fantastic and this was a really good result. Now we need to keep this up for the next race. So there you go then. A positive exchange there with Jorge Martin. I was kind of thinking that Aleix should be saying something. You think Aleix would say sorry? It kind of seems weird to me, right? That in this game there's obviously a social media feed that riders comment on things. They're supposed to comment on collisions. I've never ever seen that happen, by the way. I think I've seen it happen maybe on a couple of other people's videos or screenshots. I've never seen it in races. I've definitely knocked AI off. I've had contact with AI. I've been knocked off by AI. I've never seen them once comment about a collision or an incident in a race. So yeah, I'm not sure if it really works. But for me, if you've knocked someone off and you get a long lap penalty, surely the game should be like, let's mention that on Twitter later, because they would be in real life. So yeah, not too sure. But overall then, a pretty good episode. Obviously, unfortunate that we didn't gain any points in the sprint, but to be honest, neither did Bastianini, so it kind of worked out alright. We're still a decent few points behind him, but not too many at all now. 7 points, so definitely feasible. But heading into Mugello, like I said before we went into this sort of part of the career hub, don't really like the circuit, so yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm usually pretty weak there, like I'm quite poor compared to some of the tracks, so I may have to turn the AI down just to be competitive. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to turn it down to just make it so I'm winning every race or fighting for the podium every race, because as you saw, I was happy to fight for 9th place in Le Mans. Same AI difficulty here, we're much better. Quite realistic actually for an independent rider. They do go up and down a little bit. But if I'm miles off at the back, or if it's wet or whatever, obviously I'll turn it down so I actually get to have some sort of a race, because at the end of the day, it is a career mode for entertainment. I'm not going to circulate around at the back doing laps for absolutely no reason. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy that one. A pretty cracking race. So yeah, hopefully that was a good one for you. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And of course, it is a win-win for both of us, as you get some more MotoGP 24 game content in your subscription feed. But I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.